In a prosperous village called Ilu Oro, where yams grew as tall as men and the rivers sang with crystal-clear water, there lived a wealthy farmer named Adebayo. He was respected throughout the land, blessed with wealth, fertile fields, and a large household. But behind the walls of his beautiful compound lived two women whose lives would become the talk of the entire village. The first was Amara, gentle, faithful, and patient. For 12 long years, she had prayed for a child. The second was Ireti, young, beautiful, and carrying the child everyone believed Amara would never have. No one knew that heaven was quietly preparing to rewrite their story. For 12 long years, Amara had awakened before the sun. She worked harder than anyone in the household, caring for the animals, preparing the meals, and quietly carrying the weight of a home that never truly accepted her. Every morning, she watched other women walk proudly with children tied gently to their backs. She smiled at them, even when her own heart ached. The villagers whispered that she had been cursed. Some pitied her, others judged her. But no one knew how many tears she had cried in silence, or how many prayers she had whispered before dawn. Still, Amara refused to let bitterness take root in her heart. She believed that even when people forgot her, God had not. The whispers grew louder. 12 years had passed, and still, Amara had not given Adebayo a child. Though he loved her deeply, the voices of family and tradition became impossible to ignore. So Adebayo took another wife. Her name was Ireti. She was young, beautiful, full of confidence, and full of dreams. Amara welcomed her with kindness. There was no anger in her heart, no jealousy, only quiet grace. But not everyone saw kindness as strength. Some believed Amara's season had ended, and Ireti's had only just begun. None of them knew that destiny was preparing a surprise no one could imagine. At first, peace filled the household. Only a few months after the wedding, Ireti became pregnant. The news spread through Ilu Oro like the first rain after a long season of drought. Everyone celebrated. Everyone believed the family had finally received its long-awaited blessing. Adebayo's smile returned. His heart overflowed with hope. And wherever Ireti walked, admiring eyes followed. The day finally arrived. Ireti gave birth to a healthy baby boy. His name was Olumide. My joy has come. The compound overflowed with celebration. Songs filled the air. Laughter echoed through the village. Adebayo believed every dream he had carried for years had finally come true. But as admiration surrounded Ireti, something dangerous began to grow inside her. Pride. The praise she received slowly hardened her heart, and before long, her words became sharper than a knife. She no longer saw Amara as her elder sister. She saw her as a woman who deserved to be humiliated. Yet Amara answered every insult with silence. As the days passed, Ireti's joy slowly became pride, and pride slowly became cruelty. She no longer celebrated her own blessing. Instead, she used it to wound another woman. Every chance she found, she reminded Amara of what she did not have. One afternoon, before neighbors, friends, and family, she laughed and said, "Even the goats in this compound produce more young than you." The courtyard fell silent. Some laughed out of fear. Others lowered their eyes in shame. But Amara answered cruelty the same way she always had, with silence. No one saw the tears she carried into her little hut that afternoon. No one, except God. That night, after the tears, after the silence, after the prayers, Amara remembered a promise. Long before she married Adebayo, her grandmother had placed a small carved calabash into her hands. Inside it was a single sacred seed. Her grandmother had said, "My daughter, this seed is a gift. Plant it only when your heart is truly ready. Not when you seek revenge, not when you seek to prove others wrong, but only after you have forgiven the one who has hurt you the most." For 12 long years, Amara had protected that tiny seed. She had waited, believed, and prayed. Perhaps the time had finally come. That night, something changed. For years, Amara had carried the weight of rejection, the whispers, the insults, the loneliness. But before she touched the sacred seed, she remembered her grandmother's words. "Plant it only after you have forgiven the one who hurt you the most." Forgiveness was not easy. It did not erase the pain or the memories, but it freed her heart. With tears in her eyes, she released every wound, every insult, every humiliation. Then, and only then, she planted the sacred seed. Not to prove anyone wrong, not to seek revenge, but to heal her own heart. Morning came, like every other morning. The birds began to sing. The sun slowly kissed the earth. The village awoke, unaware that history was about to change. Then, the impossible happened. From a single sacred seed, life emerged. Not by human hands, but by divine grace. The tiny plant stretched toward the heavens, its leaves shining with beauty, until it bore one perfect fruit, a gift, a promise, an answer to 12 years of faithful prayers. With gratitude filling her heart, Amara received the miracle. She did not shout, she did not boast. She simply thanked God and received his blessing. Weeks passed, quietly, gently, almost unnoticed. Then one morning, Amara felt something she had never felt before: hope. She said nothing. She waited. She prayed. And as the days passed, the impossible slowly became visible. Life was growing inside her. The woman everyone had called barren was carrying a child. When the village discovered the miracle, joy filled every corner of Ilu Oro. Even those who had once doubted her celebrated. Adebayo wept openly. His prayers had finally been answered. But while the village rejoiced, another heart began to darken. The same miracle that brought Amara peace awakened jealousy in Ireti. As Amara's joy grew, Ireti's jealousy grew with it. She could no longer bear to watch another woman receive the love and admiration she believed belonged to her. Day after day, envy whispered to her heart. Yet while evil planned in darkness, heaven was already watching. The God who had answered Amara's prayers would not abandon her now. Through a quiet dream came a gentle warning, and without a single word, everything changed.
You said your Amara a grandma.
Until one evening, it became something far more dangerous. Hidden beneath a simple wooden lid was a deadly secret. A poison prepared not for an enemy, but for a woman who had never stopped showing her kindness. The poison found the one who had prepared it. By morning, Ireti's body was consumed with pain. Fear replaced pride. The laughter that once filled her heart became cries for mercy. The healer spoke only one sentence. The one who prepared the poison knows the cure. No one needed another explanation. The truth was already written across Ireti's face. Amara knew everything. She knew who had tried to destroy her. She knew who had planned the death of her unborn child. She could have walked away. She could have chosen revenge. Instead, she chose mercy. Because forgiveness is strongest when revenge is easiest. Peaceful months passed over Ilu Oro. The rainy season ended, leaving the land green and beautiful. As Amara's pregnancy reached its final weeks, she walked with quiet joy, surrounded by the warmth of a village that now celebrated her. Then, the cries of new life filled the night air. Not once, but twice. A double blessing, one baby boy and one baby girl. Adebayo fell to his knees in tears of deep gratitude. Amara embraced her twins with a mother's true love. But outside, beneath the dark night sky, Ireti stood completely alone. Watching her co-wife's joy, a dark shadow grew over her heart, whispering that she had lost everything. Jealousy is never satisfied. The more Ireti lost, the more she believed Amara had stolen from her. Instead of confronting her own heart, she chose deception. One quiet evening, she planted a different kind of seed. Not a seed of hope, but a seed of doubt. With carefully chosen words, she poisoned Adebayo's mind. No evidence, no witnesses, only whispers. And sometimes, the most dangerous poison is not placed in a bowl. It is placed inside a trusting heart. Slowly, Adebayo began pulling away from the woman he had loved for so many years. Amara could not understand what had changed, but she could feel that something precious was slipping away. Ireti's heart became darker with each passing day. She could no longer bear the joy that surrounded Amara. Every smile from the villagers felt like an insult. Every blessing spoken over Amara felt like a curse upon herself. Jealousy had completely consumed her. One afternoon, while preparing the family meal, Ireti secretly mixed a deadly poison into Amara's bowl. She smiled to herself, believing that before the sun set, both Amara and her unborn child would be gone forever. But that very night, Amara had a vivid dream. An elderly woman clothed in brilliant white appeared before her and gently whispered, "Do not eat from the bowl prepared for you. Evil hides beneath kindness tonight." Amara awoke before dawn, with her heart pounding. She remembered every word of the warning. When the family gathered to eat, Amara quietly exchanged her bowl with Ireti's while no one was watching. As the meal continued, no one suspected what had happened. Ireti smiled with quiet satisfaction, believing Amara had eaten the poisoned food. But within moments, her own smile faded. A sharp pain twisted through her stomach. Her breathing became heavy, and her body trembled. The bowl slipped from her hands and shattered on the floor. She collapsed before the entire household. Panic swept through the compound. Adebayo rushed to her side, while the villagers gathered in confusion. The village healer examined her carefully before speaking with a troubled voice. "This is no ordinary sickness. She has taken a deadly poison. Only the one who prepared it knows the cure." For 3 days and 3 nights, Ireti cried out in agony. Her little son, Olumide, wept beside her, not understanding why his mother could no longer hold him. Amara watched quietly, carrying no hatred in her heart. Though deeply hurt by everything Ireti had done, Compassion began to overcome her pain. For 3 long days, Ireti lay between life and death. Her cries echoed through the compound, yet no remedy brought relief. Adebayo and the healer watched helplessly, knowing her end was near. Amara knew the truth. She knew the poison was meant for her, yet her heart carried no hatred. Carrying a calabash of healing herbs, she walked toward her co-wife's hut with quiet grace. Entering the dark room, Amara knelt beside her dying rival. Gently whispering words of forgiveness, she lifted Ireti's head to offer the life-saving medicine. As the herbal drink passed her lips, the poison's grip began to break. Ireti's breathing steadied, her trembling stopped, and the flush of life slowly returned to her skin. 3 months passed. The poison was gone. Ireti's strength slowly returned. Every morning she woke to the sound of little Olumide laughing outside. But something inside her had changed. The pride that once ruled her heart had become heavy shame. She remembered every cruel word she had spoken, every insult, every tear she had caused. And she could no longer escape the truth. The woman she had tried to destroy had become the very woman who saved her life. For the first time in many years, Ireti cried not from pain, but from regret. Days later, Ireti left the forest. Her feet were bruised and bleeding from walking barefoot over stones and thorns. Her beautiful clothes had become rags. Her pride had been stripped away. Every painful step reminded her of every cruel word she had spoken to Amara. The river goddess had spoken the truth. There would be no peace until she asked for forgiveness. At last, after 3 exhausting days, Ireti reached Amara's home. The villagers watched in complete silence. The proud woman who had once mocked the barren wife now fell to her knees before her. With tears streaming down her face, she whispered, "Amara, I have sinned against you. Please forgive me." Amara looked into Ireti's tear-filled eyes. She gently knelt beside her, lifted her face, and smiled. "I forgave you long ago." The words echoed through the silent village. There was no anger, no bitterness, only mercy. Amara gave Ireti fresh water to drink. She brought her food. She embraced the woman who had once tried to destroy her. Days later, Olumide returned to the compound and played happily with Amara's twins. Laughter filled the air where hatred had once lived. The villagers would never forget what they had witnessed. They learned that forgiveness is stronger than revenge, and that kindness has the power to heal even the deepest wounds. From that day forward, Ireti dedicated her life to encouraging women who struggled. She reminded them that a woman's worth is never measured by her fertility, but by the love in her heart. And in Ilu Oro, peace returned. Some wounds are healed by time, but the deepest wounds are healed by forgiveness. Remember, a woman's worth is never measured by her fertility, but by her character, her compassion, and the love she gives. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share. Welcome to Women's Corner 61, where every story has a purpose.